What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Show. This is Frank.
This is Kevin.
See, I like it when he's not prepared for that. And we are not live. I was gonna say we're live. We're not live. We're recording this one for you guys for later. And no guest. It's just us today. So we're gonna tackle the world's most important topics and bring you guys some ear orgasms. Kevin?
That sounds awful.
It does sound awful, and the cameras are so messed up. I don't know what's going on anymore. Who's this? Hey.
Did you just come in and have it on me or something?
No, I had it on both of us. That one shot that we're never going to use again.
We're going to figure this out right like the last day.
The very last day. You know, it would help if I named those boxes, right?
Yeah, it probably would.
So,
for everybody listening, just to let you know, there has been a change to the website. We've had a lot of people say that they can't figure out where to follow us or how to hear the podcast or where to go to see the YouTube live. So we've made it a little easier. You can go to www.ordinaryguyshow. If you can't spell that, my God, you need to work on it.
There's two S's. They're right after each other. It makes you feel a little weird, but it's right.
It just is a super sport.
Yeah. It's a super sport.
So anyways, you can go there, and now if we're streaming live, that will show up on the homepage, as well as if we are not streaming live, it will show whatever our last show was. So in this case, you will probably be watching this episode. And going to be working on the store there, but it is up and running. We also have a Twitch link on there, so if you want to play some games, I'm going to be working on that, but that is kind of on the back burner. So
Hey, do we have a preferred way that we want them to watch video? Like, is this probably the best way?
It's the best way because it counts for YouTube.
So it still counts for YouTube, but it allows them to do it on our website. So
right, and you don't have to do the YouTube /C/
very
Ordinary
cool
Guys Show thing.
Yeah, so then we can just keep that link going.
Yep.
Awesome. So, Kevin, we just discussed a whole bunch of topics, and I didn't write many of them down.
All right, so I'll start with the first thing that's on my mind, okay? And that is the liberals getting their kids into high-end schools by paying their way in.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't get to hear the end of everything today, but I know that the woman that was a part of the Full House show, I think her name is Lori. I'll look it up real quick. But anyways,
if I'm not mistaken, she was Aunt Becky, right?
Yeah, I never watched the show.
For everybody who doesn't know, it was Aunt Becky. And what was her thing? I think her thing was...
Oh, no. I don't know.
Oh, this one was good. Now, remember, anything you hear from us is not legit.
Uncle Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but no, for everybody who doesn't know, if you're getting news from us, it's not really probably accurate.
Well, I did get her name right.
You did.
Her name is Lori Loughlin.
What?
Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin. Okay, so she was the one, if I'm not mistaken, she was the one that pretended that her kids were rowers and got them scholarships to row, but they had never rowed.
Right.
So they took pictures and all that sort of stuff, right?
I can explain how this worked.
All right.
If for the audience that doesn't know. So what happened is these kids of rich, famous people, obviously, didn't have the grades or, didn't have the skills necessary to be able to make it into these higher end schools that they wanted to attend. So what would happen is their parents would pay money to this non-for-profit. This non-for-profit was then using that money to pay coaches of teams to designate them sort of for almost like a scholarship. So they would get in under a guise of they could play sports that they could not.
Was that what the nonprofit was about? Like, it wasn't like a scam, like they got scammed? Like, everybody knew this is
everybody knew.
This is what you do.
This is what it was for. And it was anywhere, from what I've heard, from $500,000 to $1 million to get their kids into this school. So then when this would happen, how I think it would happen, and it hasn't come out yet, but I was a scholarship athlete, so I kind of get how that whole thing works. So I didn't make it into school for my brains, let's be honest.
Right.
I made it into college because I could play ball.
Right.
And that
because
is
you were athletic then.
Yes.
Okay.
Back then. So that being said, they would get in on sort of obscure sports. It wasn't like forefront NCAA division sports where you're going to find out about this. Yeah. So it's like sculls, which is rowing.
Yep.
It's like water polo, tennis at smaller schools. Like,
sure.
These aren't the headliner sports where it's going to show in the way they would do it.
It's the bullshit that they need full rosters for, but they don't quite care about.
Well, I think what they were doing is they would offer the scholarship for the school to take them. They would take the bribe money, meaning the coach. But then on the back end, they would have a kid come to the school and say they're not going to play. So when they relinquish the scholarship because they're not going to row or play polo or whatever, we'll give you that scholarship. So you just come on board with a guarantee, verbal handshake, so to speak. So that way the coach wasn't losing any of the star athletes, so to speak, but they were also getting the pocket money. And
I see what you're saying.
It was significant. But here's where it got messed up. We've always known...
Wait. So, at some point, are coaches going to start getting hammered and all this
A couple have already been fired.
Really?
And also been arrested.
Holy crap. Yeah. It's crazy that Aunt Becky's going to jail.
Most likely.
Like, she's turning herself in a couple days.
I want to say her bail was like $1 million or $500,000. It was extensive.
Okay, but she'll post bail. Let's face it.
She did.
She's
out.
So,
and I may be getting this wrong, but I think she's married to some head up at Target or something.
Okay.
So now they're trying to say maybe Target might get in trouble too. So it's a long line. But here's the killer.
Hey, you think real jail time though, when it's all said and done?
I'll tell you why. Here's where they screwed up. So where they screwed up wasn't paying to get their kids in the school, because that normally would be a slap on the wrist. Everything's good. Where they screwed up is they were stupid enough that they gave to the nonprofit organization, and then they wrote it off on their taxes.
So they're going for tax evasion.
Yes.
God damn it. That's
fraud.
Like, and I don't mean, okay, so here's the deal. I don't mean this in a way that condones what they did. I don't. I think that's terrible in a way that, like, okay, so you understand what their goal was, obviously. Get their kid in a really cool school so that they can be like, well, my kid goes to wherever. But at the end of the day, to go to jail for tax evasion sucks.
Well, and it's the only one that seems to ever stick.
It's the only one that sticks because they don't fuck around. They don't fuck around with tax evasion. Now, don't get me wrong. Here's the deal. We're going to judge them on their morals. So if they were going and they did their taxes, and then their tax advisor's like, oh, you know what? You made that big donation. And she's like, yeah.
Oh, no. If I had $1 bazillion, I would probably do the exact same thing.
Right. But the idea, too, is or are they calling, oh, don't forget to tell our tax professional that we made a $500,000 contribution to the nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they sleazily use that as a write-off.
Well, and see, that's, I want to say,
go to jail.
It's either her or the other famous woman, and I can't remember her name, but one of them is married to the Target exec. So they're saying he didn't sign anything, but obviously he knew. Obviously.
He had to have, right?
Like, I know everything that goes on with my wife for the most part, and she knows that. Anything like that,
well,
they know.
Well, especially when, hey, Steven got a scholarship to row for Harvard, and he's like,
Steven's half the stupidest person I ever met in my life.
And can't row if he was fucking stuck on an
Still
island.
eats his own boogers.
Yeah, he still eats his own boogers. There's no way he's... When the fuck did he start rowing?
Did you hear they were taking, like, fake pictures, though, to send them in for recruiting purposes?
Yep. Oh, just to cross their T's and dot their I's, right?
Oh, yeah. And
jeez, that's nasty. That's so nasty.
So, it gets better. And here's why. Everybody loves it when rich people that have it so easy get in trouble. It's like it makes people's day. Because we sit down here, and they're, up there.
Oh, they're on a mountain.
And when they get taken down a peg or two, it's almost like a victory for the common man.
It really is. But I got excited, and I've got no skin in the game, right?
And it's terrible that we get excited about that.
I got excited.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Like, as a parent that they really were just trying to do it for the best for their kids. And their kids are spoiled and I'm not saying every rich kid is spoiled, but most of them...
Or that they don't deserve it.
Don't know how to work.
But if they are really good... Here's the deal. If your kids were super smart, like legitimately super smart, or talented even, like, think of something that you would get to go to an Ivy League school for outside of sports, maybe, right? Like a phenomenal violinist or something like that, right? I know I'm going off the cusp here, but so you would want them to take advantage of that as long as possible, right? Yeah. So it would be a long time before they knew what work was or what hard work was. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you always want your kids to do better than you, and that consists like I'm at fault. I give my kids way too much.
Sure.
Way too much.
Sure. So I would do some of the same stuff that they did, but I mean, like if your kid's an absolute idiot. You know what I'm trying to say?
The next Spicoli.
Yeah, the next Spicoli, and you're paying for them to go to like at some point, man. It's like, come on, really? You go to community college.
Well, they're not going to send their kid to a community college.
We never know.
Supposedly, I think it was USC had a lot to do with this, which doesn't surprise me a bit. But the thing is from what I've heard, and there's going to be more because we've just seen the beginnings of this. Supposedly, the ones that are on this list may have their scholarship or their diplomas revoked.
What about what this investigation is called?
I haven't seen that.
You don't know what it's called?
No.
Operation Varsity Blues.
Really? Whoever thought of that is a genius.
It's amazing.
Absolute genius.
I love it. It's my favorite part about the whole thing.
My favorite part about the whole thing is all of these people that are caught up in this scandal are liberals. They're liberal donors.
Yep.
They're Democratic supporters.
Yep.
They constantly sit on the soapbox and preach at how bad that, white privilege is the big thing they scream lately. They're the ones that have it.
Yeah.
And they sit here and they point a finger, but the last time I checked, Donald Trump's kids are very intelligent and have done very well for themselves and work very hard. So, his rich ass had kids that earn their way through.
The opposite side of that spectrum.
Right. And they're going to sit there and condemn him. Meanwhile, they're paying for Spicoli to go eat boogers on a road team.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now, the one issue I have with this, and we've gotten into it a little bit where, as we try to keep some of our personal political views out of it because we don't want to piss anybody off to the extent that we're just having a good time. Well, there's certain maybe people that I would be cool with pissing off, but as far as like our listeners and stuff like that, right? We just want to have a good time and hang out. But you did mention something. I'll butcher the details, but somebody was on a talk show recently. Was it last night?
Yes.
And this was post
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget was on on Kimmel last night, and this was a live show as far as like it was post this.
Yeah, he's always live.
Okay, but meaning that like this news was out. It's not like nobody knew about this.
Yeah, this has been 2 days now since this broke. I remember when it broke. It was 1:00 2 days ago because I just got back in the car and it was.
I remember seeing that. Too.
I remember because I listened to Rush Limbaugh, and he's like breaking news, and he talks about it, and he explained the whole thing, and I was like, oh man, they stepped in it this time. But, I mean, you can finish what happened. But
well, no. I said that's what I'm saying. I didn't know the details enough to know. But, I mean, there's something obviously controversial about that.
Well, and it's very controversial. What you were getting at is Kimmel has Bob Saget, who was the head person on Full House.
Sure.
The main person that's like the whole focal point of this investigation.
Anytime there's something Full House that comes up and Bob Saget's around, like you would expect he's going to get asked a question about it.
Right.
You think.
Kimmel didn't even bring it up.
Which, I mean, he would bring up, the Mueller investigation or Trump anything to anybody.
Oh, he's a liberal agenda pusher like no tomorrow.
100%.
Him and Trevor Noah.
And
the other guy that I don't like, the other late night talk show
Fallon?
guy. No, Fallon's not that bad.
Pretty good. Fallon's pretty good. I mean, he makes jokes, but I think he does it as a comedian.
I can't remember his name. He's the other older white guy. He's not old, but he's older.
Not with the huge head, not Conan.
No. Conan really doesn't talk about much of it.
Was it Seth?
I can't remember. We're going to say every single one, but who
there's a guy that comes on after Fallon, right? And he's got like a 45-minute, maybe an hour-long show. It's whatever. But he spends 20 to 30 minutes just as opening monologue, it seems like. Nah, it's probably a good 6 or 7 minutes. Opening monologue is all about Trump. And then at some point, it's another thing about Trump. And it's like, I get it, but do you not have any good material? Like, make me laugh. Funny man. What was that from?
Make me laugh, funny man? Yeah. I forget.
Was it Wedding Crashers? I think it's Wedding Crashers when he's making the balloon.
I don't remember.
Like, can you make me a whatever?
But all that being said, I think this can segue into our Netflix show that we talked about.
Yeah,
because there is a new Full House on Netflix, which I haven't watched either. Which, by the way, does that make me un-American?
But how new?
Like last year, I think.
Oh, okay.
So they all came back except the twins.
Yeah, that's actually probably like 2 years, maybe even older.
Maybe.
But
time flies in Netflix years.
They all came back except for the twins. They did a couple jokes about the twins. See, I've seen it because Janet and Ava, like, they kind of watch it together.
See,
like, Morgan watch it?
I don't think she did. Morgan's big into Riverdale.
What's Riverdale?
If I tell you, you're going to think it's retarded. Because it is. So, Riverdale is a lot like the one you brought up. It's 1U, isn't it? Or something like that. The Stalker guy.
Oh, You. Yeah, that show's so weird.
It falls like the feel is kind of close to that. But it's... This sounds so stupid. It's a show about Archie Bunker.
Really?
Yes. Riverdale's an Archie Bunker.
Really?
But, yeah, because when she first said it, like, I used to read the Archie comic.
Sure.
So I'm like, what are you watching? And it's almost like that teen / early 20s, 30s age group watches it sort of a thing. And it's all about Archie Bunker, but it's like got murder in it and all sorts of weird, crazy stuff.
Is it worth watching?
And yeah, what was the one that wore the weird hat with like the crown? I forget his name, but anyways, he's in it and he wears a sock hat that's shaped like that. It's so weird.
That's
and I'm
pretty
like,
cool.
I asked her, I'm like, is this Archie Bunker's Riverdale? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, how do they make a show out of this? Like,
all right.
You wonder though, because it's not bad. I haven't watched it. She loves it, and her best friend loves it too. But you think, like, who pitched that? And how drunk were they in that meeting? I got an idea. We're gonna make a sitcom about Archie Bunker.
You know, I have a great appreciation for those kind of shows, or at least the ones that get picked up, because, I mean, everybody is going that, like, Bachelor, Bachelorette, they're fucking bringing back the Jersey Shore. You know what I mean? All of those dumb shows. I know we've talked about before, like Teen Mom. Like,
I like Teen Mom.
I know, but at the core of all these shows, they're so stupid.
Well, you know which one I feel like they overdid it pretty bad? Like, I was trying to keep up, but it just got so overloaded I couldn't do it anymore, and I just quit. Is all the Marvel stuff. Like, and then you got, Flash, you got Arrow, then you got, the one with all the different ones together. Yeah, but isn't
Flash DC?
Maybe, but the whole point is there's just so much comic stuff right now. And it's like, I'm worn out. Are you
a DC or Marvel guy?
Who's a DC person?
Okay.
People that like shit movies?
That's what I'm saying. So if they took DC off the charts, like off the table, I feel like it'd free up a lot of time.
I don't know.
I don't need to watch that shit.
Did all the writers leave DC and go to Marvel? Is that what happened?
Dude, I don't know, but you have to think, huge budgets, man. DC is what? Who owns DC?
I assume DC.
For some reason, I felt like, okay, because Marvel's Disney now, right?
Yeah.
Marvel's Disney, right? So it just shows you, I know we love and hate Disney at times, right? But, dude, they know how to put on a movie.
Disney owns everything.
They know how to make a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they know how to make a good movie because, DC they have to have a good budget. I think we looked up the budget.
Batman movie. I'm sure that the Suicide Squad had a huge budget. That movie was retarded.
They just don't put them on. They're like over the top, cheesy. I'm not a fan.
No, and who cast a villain as a supermodel that's never acted before? I mean, come on. I'm no producer,
right?
But I would go, hey, that probably isn't a good idea.
Yeah, no, but that's kind of their thing. Halle Berry.
Yeah, but Halle Berry can act.
Yeah, but I mean,
Catwoman was one of the worst.
It was one of the worst movies. It was terrible.
She's like licking her hand.
Right. So I think the topic was what's on Netflix worth watching. Is that what?
Yeah, the newest one you brought up, you just finished. You said was Umbrella Academy.
Oh, the Umbrella Academy. Yeah. So I started watching the Umbrella Academy because you talked about it. You mentioned that it was similar to Sin City-ish, right? It was kind of dark, a little twisted. It definitely was dark, a little twisted. And there were parts of it where I was like, what the hell am I even doing? But I was already too invested to watch. Kind of cool. I like that whole thing with people getting mystical superpowers.
The best guy in the whole show, though, is the junkie gay brother.
I loved and hated that guy. Because there are times you're like, you can see where he's clearly going to mess something up.
Yeah, but he's
damn junkie.
You feel for him, though. And I feel like he's the best actor of the group.
He was.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
He was Johnny Deppish. in the way he could really, because he don't act like that in real life.
Of course.
But he held that character.
He held that character. Is this too recent for like this is spoiler alert material?
Yeah, it's only been out a couple weeks.
Okay, so I don't want to ruin anything, but pay attention if you guys like the show. I put my stamp on it. I would watch it. I think Kevin stamped it. He would watch it.
We need like an ordinary guy's like rating, like 1 to 10. Like we'll give it a I don't know, we'll make up a score, but I would give it in the scheme of things 10 being Game of Thrones, right?
Okay. Makes sense.
1 being like
some dumb shit my kid's making me watch.
I watched a movie the other night on Netflix that was about donuts that ate people.
Really? That's on Netflix?
Yeah. That's a number 1.
Okay.
So that being a number 1.
All right.
By the way, you should watch it. So so I would give this a 6.5, 7.
Okay, I would go 5.5, 6 if we're doing that. Because you have to think about it like this. Game of Thrones is a 10. So like it would have to be really, really good to be a 9 or an 8, right? So and I don't mean it as the show sucks. It's on the better side of the rating scale.
I think anything above a 5 is what you should watch it.
Okay, so I honestly think 5.5, 6. We'll give it 6 because I don't think that you should call out of work to watch it. But at the same time, if you're bored, you got nothing going on. I play it on the TV that's behind Kevin when I'm sitting here getting some work done and stuff, and that's kind of how I watch it. But I would definitely watch it. So we got our stamp on it. We're giving it. You said.
I said 6.5. You said 5.5. So it's a 6.
We'll call it a 6. All right. Next show.
Next show that I've watched recently. Punisher. I've started. I haven't gotten too deep into it.
I think I've got like 3 maybe episodes left. I don't know if it was as good as the first one in that the first one was super dark.
It was. But I got a little laggy on the first one because I feel like it drug mid-season.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So this one has a different dynamic. Obviously, there's another person involved now. I mean, if you haven't watched it at all, I think the first 2 episodes are going to be pretty kick-ass and you'll be hooked. What do you think? The first 2 episodes of this second season you've seen.
I've watched the first 2 and it's good.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, because I feel like they kept the 2 best characters.
Sure.
I feel like we can talk about the first one because it's been a year.
Yep.
But the guy that was the other main character, the computer guy.
Yes.
I thought he well overstayed his welcome.
Yeah, I think so too. Right? I mean, like we said, it kind of felt like it dragged on a little bit. That might have been it, where that character was probably involved with the drag on. But I think that who's that guy? The guy from his old squad, the big black guy, dude's jacked.
I know who you're talking about, but
So I like him, and obviously the villain. I'm glad they brought him, and then the detective, right? Was that the other person?
So I'm looking through my recently watched to remind myself what I watched, because I've also been watching and catching up on The Walking Dead, which I would say is an 8.
Sure.
It's getting draggy into a 7.
It is.
It's like they're doing anything and everything to keep it rolling at this point.
Yeah, by the time I think... So the reason why they keep it rolling is because comic book-wise, there's still more to go as far as the show is concerned. But, are they trying to make it a 5 more season show? And it could just really be 2 good seasons, and they could get the whole thing over and done with.
Like they're doing with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They're realizing if they go any further, they're going to jump the shark, and then it's kind of like Sopranos ended when Sopranos should have ended. I mean,
I know we talk about it a lot, but I think that was perfectly played. However, current season of The Walking Dead, which obviously, so this isn't on Netflix, but the current season of The Walking Dead, I think is picking up a little bit.
I think so too.
Have you been watching it?
Yeah.
I think the new dynamic going on, I think gives it a little more life. But like most Walking Deads do, if you catch the first 2 or 3 episodes of the season, and then the last 2, you're good.
The whole thing with Carl dying and just drawing that out, I was like, God, just kill him already.
Yeah, there's like a whole episode of him.
There's like 3
bleeding out, right?
Yeah, because it ended the 1 season, and then it dragged into 2 before he died, and you had to watch him like make amends with all the rest of them, and it was just, And sorry, spoiler alert if you didn't know Carl died, but
Yeah, but everybody else turns into a damn zombie in like 8 seconds.
yeah, and he's like takes a long time.
Took him a fucking week.
Yeah. So another show I've watched, I don't know if you've seen this one. And by the way,
Oh, so what are we rating Punisher?
5.
You think 5?
Yeah, because I think if you want to watch Punisher and you haven't seen Shooter yet, watch Shooter before Punisher.
Shooter as in...
Ryan Felipe is the main character.
Why have I not know? Oh, that was the Mark Wahlberg movie that they turned into a series?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
So, I have not seen all of Shooter. I think I've only seen a couple episodes.
Shooter's better.
Shooter's better.
Yeah.
What do you give Shooter?
Shooter's 7.
Shooter's a 7?
Yeah.
I honestly would give Punisher. I love Punisher. Like, I love that character. I would give it a 7. You give it a 5?
I give it a 5 because I haven't seen season 2 yet.
Okay.
So I think
Split
it could
the
get
difference
better.
again?
The beginning of the first Punisher was great, and then it really drug, and then it ended on an up note, but it wasn't enough to save it for me. So I feel like they could do a lot better.
I like what's his name though. I like that guy.
The one that played in Walking
Frank
Dead
Castle.
too.
Yeah. And it was funny because he's got that same personality.
Yo, I'm gonna come in there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I can tell you this: Walking Dead would be a much better show with him instead of who they kept.
That could be a whole new episode that we do. Characters that should have stayed on shows.
Yes,
Fucking kills
there's
me.
tons of them.
Tons of them. Ned Stark.
Yes, see, they killed him way too soon.
They killed him way too soon.
I was like, wait, he's like the guy on the cover.
See, the
And
problem
is he
problem
really
was
dead?
he's from Lord of the Rings, so you have really high expectations when he
Yeah.
goes in there, and then you're like, what in the hell just happened?
But that's why that show has broken all the rules. It's broken down barriers that you're like, how? Like, there's so much going. That's why it's so good. There's so much going on that you can't get bored because there's literally 18 storylines going on at one time.
So they're like the anti-Simpsons. Like Simpsons, you're like, how the hell is everybody still around? They're all the same exact age. It's been like 15 years.
They kill everybody.
They're like, what the hell happened? They're like, nope, you're not getting comfortable with anybody.
Like the
They're
Red
gone.
Wedding, they're like, we're just going to kill everyone.
Dude, that... Okay, I had no preparation for that episode. So
I didn't either.
I warn people now that I'm like, you're going to start watching Game of Thrones? Like, yeah. I'm like, Red Wedding. Just, you're going to see the title pop up. Just remember.
When Joffrey died, it was elating.
Hey, spoiler alert.
That was like season 4. So, I do have one more before we get away from the movies.
All right, what do we got going on?
I don't think you've seen this one, but it's one of my favorites. And I honestly, Morgan doesn't like it, so I'll preface it with that. Morgan would give it like a 4.
Oh, boy.
I give it an 8.
Oh.
Which is high for me. So this is like the kind of the one bite pizza challenge guy. Like I only give 8s to things that are really awesome and better. Ozark.
Oh, dude, Ozark, for sure.
Ozark. I'm glad you've seen it. But dude, that show has some serious legs on it, and I don't get bored.
No.
I don't.
No, so that show had... so for people listening, that show had a lot of Breaking Bad in it. Like that Breaking Bad, like you watch it, you're like, man, this is like dirty, but you're rooting for...
Yeah, you're rooting for the bad guy.
You're right. If you liked the main characters in Breaking Bad, you're rooting for the bad guy. Let's face it. So this is one of those things where you're like rooting for the bad guy, but for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's not the real bad guy. It's just nuts. But really great. And what I like about certain shows is when they can make you feel like they could be real life. Like, I like that, where you're like, oh, this could actually be real. Like, it's just that fucked up enough that it could be real. And it's not like The Punisher. Like, really, they're going to let somebody kill that many fucking people and just walk around on the streets?
Yeah, well, you could see Heisenberg being a real person.
Yes, exactly. You can relate to them.
And you could see them rednecks growing a big opium field.
Of course.
In the middle of the woods where there's really no cops. Because there's plenty of places like that.
There's got to be, right?
Where do you think it comes from?
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming from here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great show. And I think we need to put a poll up. Should we do at least one show a week where we rate it? Because I think this is a good thing. And we can have a ratings poll and have, you know, the ordinary guy's pick list.
But different things. Or are we talking about Netflix still?
Any movies, television shows,
Sure.
anything.
I like that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you want to kill it at those then, so we don't.
Yeah, because I could go on about stuff I watch all day, but I do want to say one thing. I did watch the Michael Jackson thing.
You did.
Oh man.
Okay. I still have not.
We could do an episode on it once you watch it, but let's just say, because you have some love for Michael. I didn't have very much to begin with.
I don't
hard have any anymore.
Okay, so Michael isn't like Justin Timberlake level for me, but it's one of those you got to respect the talent, and I'm saying that having not watched this show.
I respect O.J. Simpson was one of the greatest running backs of all time, but he definitely killed Anna Nicole.
Oh, sure. But I also agree with you. Michael Jackson, you cannot deny, is probably the biggest, I don't know, what do you want to, showman of all time.
Oh, yeah. He's the greatest entertainer of all time.
He might be the greatest entertainer of all time, but that doesn't mean whatever. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was one of the best ever. He's a fucked up individual.
Oh, you got to go online and watch the times he's gotten mad at reporters. It's at least 40 times. And he doesn't just, like, under the tone, like, he's
Tyson?
Like straight up, F you, you're a piece of rat. And goes,
Tyson?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, I love Tyson.
And you can tell, like, the reporters are scared to death because this man will kill you.
Oh, and he is capable of it for one, and two, like, he may snap.
Oh, he's unstable.
Yeah. So, did you hear the Joe Rogan episode with him on?
No.
He won't even box. Like, he won't train. He won't hit a bag because he doesn't want anything to do with, like, him.
And I can see why, because he's also trying. I think he, with good intentions, is trying to make himself a better person.
I agree.
And when he does interviews and they bring up, like, the rape case or when he beat up people, he doesn't want anything to do with it, and it makes him mad. He wants to move on. He knows he has an anger problem,
sure,
but the media won't let it go.
Yeah,
all they want to talk about is the anger problem.
Apparently, he smokes a hell of a lot of weed now, and that's how he deals with the anger problem. Some people need to. But his thing was like he's like, nah, I don't want my kid to box. I don't want my kid to have that kind of a life, and there was an appreciation to that. There's appreciation to somebody who was that freaking good, who could be, he can milk that for the rest of his life if he wanted to.
Supposedly when he was younger, he used to beat up old women for their groceries. That's how bad that dude was.
That's so crazy.
He's come a long way.
Well, don't ruin the second Michael for me. All right.
So I don't know if you had a topic to go into, but the one I was going to go into has something to do with you winning the lottery.
Oh, well, okay. I got to bring something up. That pissed me the F off this week.
Finally, you're mad at something.
Yeah, dude, I am so mad. All right, so here's the deal. So I assistant coach Blake's T-ball team. And the reason is we need people. Have you ever coached T-ball?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like herding cats, right? So you need the corners covered. So you definitely need a third base coach.
And you always have the retarded kid out in right field digging a hole.
They're all digging holes or catching butterflies. I've got one kid that would pick up rocks and he holds onto the rocks. So then I can always tell because he'll go to bat.
And he's still holding the rock?
And he's like pinching the top of his bat like this. And I just go up to him like, give me the damn rock. I'll put it in my pocket and I'll give it to you afterwards. Right? Because he's got a rock in his hand. So we're there. We have to be there at 9 o'clock for a 9:30 game. It wasn't too bad. It's normally hotter. We're getting into the heat, right? So right now it's not terrible. So we're practicing. I'm like, oh, shoot, we got to do stretches and stuff like that. I take my glove. I put my glove on top of the fence. So I think you guys already know where this is going. I forget my glove on the field, right? We leave, go home. I don't realize it until the very next day when we had to go back for an evening game. So we're back. We're on the field, and I go to grab my glove. I don't have it. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I left it.
Did you check up in the boardroom?
Yes. So I looked at the fence. I said, well, it's obviously not going to be there. It's been over 24 hours. So let me run up, see if somebody turned in lost and found. Nothing. So my question to you, and I'm not saying baseball player to baseball player. I'm not a baseball player. I've played, but that doesn't mean I'm a baseball player. But I think sports, like, I don't know. Like golf, like where people respect the rules so much that there isn't somebody watching them. They're keeping their own score.
Yeah, honor amongst thieves.
Honor amongst thieves.
Except for your thief had no honor.
So is that an honor situation?
Yes. And everybody down at that field has a glove, I would think.
You would think.
So they're just stealing it because it's better than their glove. At least leave their glove there.
I would almost have appreciated that more. And someone been like, you know what's so funny is somebody was holding a glove that looked just like the one that you're describing, and they dropped this one off. I'm like, that's cool. Can I get it so I can at least play catch with the kids on the field right now? So my thing is, yes, it was an expensive glove. I think I spent like $149 plus tax on it, but it was like 5 years ago, so I'm not like too bent out of shape about it.
I don't care if somebody steals a Dorito from me. I hate thieves.
Well, that's the thing is I hate thieves, and it felt so good. It was soft. It was dark brown leather.
Now you got to break in a new one.
I got to buy a new glove. I got to break in a new glove. I'm definitely not going to spend that kind of money on it because I was playing softball at the time. So I'm mad.
Well, I've had several gloves stolen.
Really?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about that now. I had a cheap glove stolen. So in softball, because I played church league softball, well, it became men's league softball. And I always played third base. So in baseball, third baseman's glove is literally maybe 2 inches bigger in your hand. They're 10-inch gloves.
Yeah, I think like pro third baseman
Yeah.
gloves are like 11 and a quarter.
They're less than that.
Really?
Yeah. So that's more of a shortstop glove. So 13's outfield. Infield's going to run you normal infielders. Obviously, first baseman has their own mitt, but they're going to be an average of 12, and then a third baseman's going to be 10 to 11 inches.
Yeah, so a first baseman mitt is actually closer to an outfielder's mitt. It's just got that better shape for it, right?
Yeah, it's got that long toe.
Your pinky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've had a lot of gloves that have come up missing, and when I was in college, I remember I had a thing for A2000s. I had a third baseman's mitt because I played over there. I had a first baseman's mitt. I still have that, an A2000 as well. If you don't know, an A2000 is the top of the line Wilson glove, super soft, buttery leather. It's like purse. Like you smell it, it smells like a brand new women's purse.
I was looking at one of those today, and only because it's been so long since I've even looked at gloves, I was like, well, let me do a Google search and see what like a recommended glove is, and it's one of them. And I was looking at it, and now they're giving you like break-in percentages. It's like everything, right? Things change over time. So now they tell you this comes 90% broken in.
That's nice.
That 90% broken in. So 10% is you got to play with it and get a little dirty. That's really it.
I used to put a softball in it and then wrap a rubber band around it and just coat it with lanolin oil.
Yeah, lanolin.
And throw it in the oven.
So I use it's so funny. So I remember getting my first glove as a kid, and back then there weren't pre-breaking in gloves at all.
No.
Like you got leather, it looked like
you
the same.
You sat on it.
It looked like that same shit that you would get like a brand new pair of shoes where you couldn't even get your foot in it. It was so stiff. So I remember my dad. So we got it, and we're Italian, so my dad coats it in olive oil. He coats it in olive oil.
It makes it so heavy. It makes it smell like pizza.
It does. Like looking back, you're like, okay, there's definitely better ways to have done it. But we wrapped it. Same way, but I wrapped the toe in a little bit because that's usually always a problem, right? It always stays like a little stiff, so the rest, you go, and the rest of the glove goes, and it stays straight out. Wrapped that in, wrapped it up, drove the car over it a couple times, and then put it in the oven.
So for those, I don't know if any of our listeners care, but if they are buying a glove for their kid, maybe, or maybe if you want a glove, the best I think for the money. And this is for you because you're looking at them, is the new Easton gloves. They are moderately priced. I bought one for Landon, and quality-wise, it was the same as like the A2000 or Rawlings. Their big glove is the real gold glove. Don't get tricked for the ones at Walmart that say gold glove.
Yeah, because they say because when they say it at Walmart, they're saying the company is the Gold Glove Company. If you look at the way it's worded,
really? See, I have a real trapeze.
It'll say Rawlings.
Glove.
It'll say the Gold Glove Company or something like that.
And if the glove is light, it's not good. It has to have some weight to it.
Yeah.
But that's also like that's another thing. Don't break that thing in with olive oil.
No.
Don't do it.
No. So
and don't use shaving cream. I know that's popular.
A lot of people use that.
Yeah,
don't
do it.
But they use the cream, not the foam, because they're saying like condition it. So what I use is, and again, times have changed since my dad broke in my first glove. But I remember I used it for Blake's glove. What starts with N? They also make gloves in leather.
Cooney or something like that.
Yeah, it's like an Indian Native American
That one's
brand.
gotten popular. That wasn't around when I was younger.
So it's got lanolin in it.
Yeah.
And some other like vitamins basically. So it breaks in the glove, keeps it soft, and it's got like whatever the vitamins in keep it from breaking down or something like that. So it's not bad. And I know we went kind of off topic, but I mean maybe a lot of I've always had a glove. Now, I'm not, athlete of the year or anything like that, but I've always had a glove. And I got Ava out there throwing with me now, so it's been kind of fun.
I would imagine most of our audience has a kid that plays catch with them in the yard.
You would think, or if not, and you have a kid, man, play catch. My daughter, man, it's awesome. My 9-year-old daughter sees me out there with my son, so she runs in, grabs her glove, and we haven't played in forever. Last time her and I were playing, she could barely catch the ball. Dude, she was whipping them at me and catching them. I just love the sound of the ball snapping in a leather glove. I love it.
I love the whole game, and I got to brag on myself a little bit. So, I think it was 2 years ago now. Oh, God. For those listening, he just blacked me out.
No, you're fine.
But 2 years ago, you tell your kids, like...
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to try one more time. So you tell your kids, you try to tell them about the game.
Sure.
And you try to coach them because you obviously know more than they do. Even if you didn't play, you know more about
just
T-ball
life
than he knows. So, and they don't take you seriously because they don't think that you are good at it, right?
Right.
It's all stories to them. So, I'd always told Landon, I went to college, I played, I could hit really well. My problem was always I had a girly arm. I'd never been able to throw hard, ever. Top speed, maybe in my prime, like 78, 80. Which isn't that slow, but when you're trying to make pro, that's incredibly slow. Yeah. So, I kept telling him, I'm like, do this when you hit. Do this. Won't listen, right?
Don't want to listen.
No. And his dad's trying to do the same thing, and his dad was a great baseball player too, and doesn't want to listen to us. So they have an opening day home run derby. Now, there's a lot of younger kids there, and this is when I was probably 290 and definitely out of shape. And I told him, I said, you know what, I'm going to enter that home run derby and I'm going to win it. And he looked at me like, yeah, right. And I'm like, I'm going to win that home run derby. I promise you that. And so I go out there, and some of the people in it knew me from back in the day. And they're like, oh, Deschler's in it. But there's some younger kids in here that have never known me. There's a bunch of college kids from the BCC team in it. And they're over there talking crap. And me just being a jerk like I am, I look at them, I go, you guys sure you want to waste your money on this? And they look at me, I go, you're just going to lose. And the people that know me are like, oh, Deschler's talking crap, because I'm a crap talker. And I went up there and I beat the piss out of every single one of them. No problem.
That's awesome.
No problem. Because it was off a pitching machine. It was on a major league field. It was only 250 feet. I cleared the whole field, put it in the woods behind the batting cages behind it.
See, even so as a kid, and even like when I played softball, I can hit the ball. But like with tons of pop, but I will strike out more than anybody else on the team. But when I get a hold of it, dude, it's all or none for me. It is all or none. And I can find a gap, but I will definitely find the third strike before I find that gap.
You're one of them head pull hitters.
Yeah,
you probably like to look at the stands while you swing.
Oh, you don't understand.
Willie Mays Hayes style.
I look at where the gap is, and I'm like, that's where I want to go. I give it a good swing, and my eyes are like following the whole time, and then it's like, you're out.
You're the kid I would yell at and go, you can't hit what you can't see.
I know.
But he took me seriously after that for about one day. But then he forgot.
Yeah. So even when I was coaching, we rotate. So, for example, like you got to tee these balls up for kids, right? So we have a coach at home plate putting balls on the tee, and then we've got usually somebody at first and third. So we rotated, and I'm with them at home plate, and with every one of them, what's the consistency? Keep that damn elbow up. Like, hold it with both hands.
Or hold it with your hands in the right position. They always put their freaking right hand at the bottom.
They do. But what's the other thing where they're gripping the bottom and they're just doing like this up at the top?
I don't know what any of them at that age are thinking.
It's ridiculous.
And here's the thing that's kind of cool though. So you're not going to see it at that age because he's what, 5, 4?
He's 4.
4. Definitely not going to see it. But once he hits about 7, you're going to watch, and you're going to tell who's going to be good.
I think so.
It's wild. I remember they were all the same, and then once they got to be about 7 or 8, there was 3 of them that you're like, yeah, they're going to be something. Like the arms come out to play, and they got the stance, and it's like it's a natural thing. So not to say that the other ones that aren't as good won't progress because they work harder, but you can tell who has the natural gift.
So check this out. So I have cousins my younger cousins, so they're actually freshmen in high school right now. Right, they're twins, freshmen in high school. They've played on the same baseball team for probably 10 years, maybe longer. It's ridiculous, right? I've known for years. Let's put it this way: they're freshmen in high school. They're over 6 feet, and they just cracked 200 as freshmen.
They'll be good to go.
So they just did one. They did a little league tournament not too long ago. The two of them back to back. They had more home runs than any other individual team. Right?
Nice.
The two of them together, right? And dude, these kids, Matthew and Daniel, they I'm telling you, they're getting scouted. They have to be. They've been playing travel ball for like the last 5 years.
A scout told me, and this is very telling. Scout came up to me and he goes, "Son, you got a great bat. Your arm sucks." He goes, I can't teach you how to be 6 foot 230. He goes, "We're gonna be watching you."
Right.
And it had everything to do with my size because It's true. You can't teach size.
No.
But you can teach to throw.
Or at least the fundamentals enough that, like, you can be a DH somewhere.
Look at the Chinese basketball players that are like 700 feet tall.
Right. They know how to play. You know,
Some of them don't. They just bring them over and teach them.
I was thinking the other way. I was thinking of the Jeremy Lins. Like, they could play, although they're small.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they make it because they can play. But, I mean...
Yao Ming, no.
Dude, I think we were at Disney. Maybe it was somebody else. But there's this guy who walks by. He's like 7 foot tall. I'm like, if that guy didn't play basketball, it's a waste.
Yeah.
If you're that tall and you didn't play basketball, you got to give it a shot.
Imagine how pissed off you would be if you were like 7'2" and you hated basketball, and then your whole life is, did you play basketball? And you're like, I freaking hate basketball.
Don't get me wrong. I get it, and I would be really pissed off, right? It's like looking at me and being like, oh, I bet you had pasta tonight. I'm like, listen, fuck.
How's the air up there?
But at the same time, it's like, it is easy money if you're 7 foot tall. Right? Like, you're going to make a roster whether you play, like, 5 minutes or not.
I know, but could you imagine being Manute Bowl with them little toothpick legs? Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He looked like he struggled to run.
Who was the guy that was made of glass that had all the potential?
Well, Yao Ming's feet got messed up.
Wasn't it Greg?
George Mearson?
Greg, no.
Footface is what I called him?
He played for the Heat for a minute. They thought he was going to be good. Was it Odin?
Oh, yeah. Odin got messed up. He was supposed to be pretty good.
Dude, he got drafted high. He had
but that's
all
typical.
the prospects in the world.
Even Shaq had toe injuries because, think of the weight.
Yeah.
Shaq was a very fit, Shaq was an anomaly because he looked like a 6'7" guy, built as a 7'2" guy at like 340 pounds.
It's really funny because he was actually, he was bigger than he looked, right? At that time, because he was young and fit, kind of like the Dwight Howard type.
And he got bigger.
And
then
which
when
is
he
weird.
was big Shaqtus, he was like 380.
Well, because he started getting wide.
Yeah.
He stopped growing tall and he got wide. You know who else was always injured? Any girl that Shaq fucked.
I imagine so.
Jesus.
But his wife was tiny.
She's a tiny little like Asian girl, right?
Yeah.
What the hell? Shaq, come on, man. You could break anything in the world. Why you gotta fuck up an Asian girl?
And speaking of rich people that lose it all, Shaq has done a great job of that. He's been in more trouble.
Has he really, though?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Yeah, him and Warren Sapp. They love getting in trouble.
Shaq. I like Shaq.
Shaq's going to be doing the General commercials here in no time.
Dude, he's already doing, what's he doing? Well, Hot.
He will do anything.
He will do anything.
He's like Dan Marino. Dan Marino doing isotoner gloves.
Yeah, he do everything. Isotoner.
Yeah. Friggin' and Molinax Ford. I think
he did, Molinax. Man.
He does all sorts of stuff.
But he does a lot more stuff local, too. Like Miami local. Yeah. Like he
whores himself out like crazy.
Whores himself out.
I don't think he's
Places out.
I don't think he's on he was either Fox or one of them, but I don't think he's on there anymore because of something. I forget what it was.
Really? I thought he's doing like a little bit of like the where they get the four of them on a desk and they only talk like once a week or something like that.
I think he got in some trouble and he's not in it anymore.
We got to look that up because Dan's the man. Unless he's not, and I apologize.
Dan's a dick.
Really?
Yes. He really is.
Well, if you're the greatest ever, you can be a dick all you want.
Yeah, Jordan was supposedly pretty bad, too.
Yeah. Kobe.
We have gone off on a wild tangent.
We really have gone off. So what were we talking about?
We went from movies to Michael Jordan and Dan Marino being jerks.
We did movies. Oh, no. You wanted to talk about
your
lottery.
Yeah, but what are we at on time?
We're at 50.
All right, we can get it in.
Yeah, let's go.
So we were talking earlier because we drove over to the undisclosed gas station that if they would like to give us free food, Roller Dogs, I will be happy to mention them on every episode.
I would probably, I would let...
Spotted Roller Dogs. We made it almost a whole show.
Almost a whole show. But I would definitely let a Roller Dog company sponsor this show.
Do you think there is roller dog companies, like there's hot dogs that are made for roller doggies?
Well, I do know that some are better on roller dogs. So here's the deal: the skinless, not so good, right?
Really?
There's something about that skin getting greasy, spinning around that roller dog. That's just beautiful.
And we're going off on a tangent, but I'm going to say right now, and this is probably we're going to have to just move this conversation into the next show about the lottery because hot dogs at freaking Sam's Club and Costco are delicious.
What kind do they use?
Nathan's.
I see.
The fat ones, though.
The big boys.
Yeah.
Woo. I'm a fan of Nathan's, man.
I go in there because of the keto thing, and I get them with no bun, and they're like, they must get that a lot because it doesn't even faze them.
Yeah.
And they're like, here you go, and they just wrap them up individually. I normally get 3. Dude. Those are like quarter pound hot dogs.
Quarter pounds. There's nothing like that wrapped dog though. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like
where
the
it
fresh
sticks the bun to it.
Yeah, and it almost makes it soggy, but it's not. It's just steamy.
If it's in a potato roll, it just went up one notch.
Oh, I love potato rolls. But at the same time though, like New York City dogs where they wrap it up in their quick aluminum foil deal or the little sleeves and send you on your way, where you take it out, the fucking mustard's everywhere now. But it's like so squishy.
That and it always tastes better because it's the only thing affordable to eat in the whole city.
Very true. I think there's a lot riding on that lower price.
I've got an idea, and I've said this to Morgan before, but I feel like it's got legs, and she made fun of it. But I mean, you've watched the one bite challenge for the pizza guy, right? The guy from Barstool.
I have not. No. What was the deal with that?
The owner of Barstool does a one bite. Everybody knows the rules thing. He has an app. You take a bite of pizza. And you rate it from a 1 to a 10. He's never had a 10. I don't even think he's had a 9. He might have had a 9. But anyways, he has eaten a piece of pizza pretty much every day for like 400 something days. And he even did one recently at the Melbourne Chuck E. Cheese.
Really?
Yeah. Because that Chuck E. Cheese or a Chuck E. Cheese supposedly was taking different pizzas that hadn't been eaten and making a full pizza out of it because the slices like weren't lining up. You have to look at like one slice would be bigger.
So it was more like to call them out on it.
Yeah. But then he went there and he's like, this is actually decent pizza for Chuck E. Cheese. He gave it like a 6, which is decent in his book.
A pretty good rating.
Yeah.
One thing I definitely miss, I think we have to do if we're down the pizza train is why am I drawing a blank? What's the place? All you can eat pizza place.
Oh, Cece's.
Cece's. Cardboard. It's like moist cardboard.
It's the fact that it's cheap, and it's the fact that you can eat yourself handicapped.
We had a friend that we know because we were on the same work trip together. We have a friend. We walk in. We pay our money to go sit down. What is it, like $4.95 or something? Yeah. The first thing he does is he walks up to the guys making pizza and goes, I need a buffalo. That table right there. They give him a little thing. So
I didn't even know you could do that until he did that.
Right. You're going to a place where there's literally pizzas lined up on countertops for you to just have at it. So he goes and he gets a pizza made while he loads up his plate 3 times and then eats the pizza. Do you remember how many slices of pizza he had that night?
I remember how many I had.
How many did you have that
21.
night? 21. Dude, he had like 43.
He doubled me.
43 slices of pizza.
Now,
they're smaller.
People, everybody's had to have been to Cece's, but if you haven't, the pizza is actually like a quarter slice.
Sure.
Maybe a little more. Like
it reminds me more of like the size that you would get from like a DiGiorno.
Like a Totino's.
Yeah, but not as fluffy as a DiGiorno, but that big, but thin like that.
3 bites, you're done.
Sure.
I would, 2 really big bites.
But he destroyed it.
Oh, yeah.
So gross.
But back to what I was saying is I want to do a 1-bite hot dog challenge. Because I freaking love hot dogs.
I love hot dogs too. But so how's that? We take 1 bite and we say which one's better?
He doesn't ever just take 1 bite. He just says that. He takes several bites. But he takes a bite and he grades it, and he's got certain things he looks for. Like, he looks for what he calls like the New York flop, which is when you fold the pizza up and it's hard and crispy. And then like you get a little of the crust, but then it flops at the end.
Yeah, that's because all the stuff settles in the middle,
right,
and it doesn't get as crispy.
He doesn't like it. I didn't know this until I started watching him, that greasy pizzas are because they're using cheap cheese.
That makes sense.
A good cheese will not be greasy. So
because the cheese isn't so. Would it be old? What causes the cheese to get greasy like that? There's more oil in it. More oil. Oh, so more filler in it?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
it's like a nice fresh mozzarella would be more watery, not greasy.
Yep, so, and it'll burn off.
Yep.
So he's done all sorts of pizzas, but it's like you hear how he goes through them, and it's like there's got to be hot dogs like that.
I imagine. Oh, dude, there's a place I used to see all the time on. I say all the time. I saw the show. I saw the episode a few times. Remember the guy that would travel around eating all the not crazy stuff, but he would do the
Adam Richmond.
Was that the guy that would do like if something had a hot wing challenge, like he would go and do it? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this place in New York, but state, not city, that they make all their own hot dogs there, and they have like 8 or so different hot dogs, like the white hot dog. What are those things called?
Well, I know there's red hots, but I don't know what the white ones are.
It would be like a white hot dog.
I know what you're talking about.
But you see them, like they're kind of like brats or whatever the deal is. But apparently that was like one of the best places. Well, you do know that we have a place in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good.
I know which one you're talking about.
I used to go there all the time and get a funky. I would get 3 hot dogs on a Tuesday night. They do like 2 hot dogs and 2 beers, and it's like $10.
And they do the garlic fries too.
They do the garlic fries. So I would go there and I would get 1 hot dog that I knew was going to be a winner, and then I would try something new on the menu. They had a hot dog there once that I got. This is why I was pretty fat, man. They had a hot dog that
now
had...
that I'm talking about it.
Dude, it had potato salad and baked beans on the hot dog.
Holy cow.
It's delicious.
That should be called like
delicious.
The picnic.
It was... Yeah, they're, and you've seen the names are kind of cool too. Yeah. We need to reach out to them.
I have eaten there several times. Not definitely recently, worth it. But yeah,
not recently, but definitely worth it.
There's some good places. I went to a world-renowned hot dog place, and to be honest with you, I didn't like it. It's called Super Dog in Chicago.
No, they try to fancy it up.
Well, have you ever had a Chicago dog?
Yeah.
It's got like the sesame seed bun, or not, poppy seed bun with like
tomato and pickle or something like
that. Not my thing. I like chili dogs.
I like it. Chili dogs are delicious.
With the coleslaw, if I'm feeling feisty.
Chili with coleslaw. What's that hot dog at Disney that I love, man? At what the hell is that? The Casey's. Like, as soon as you walk in to the left,
those are
they
good.
have massive hot dog on that split bread
bun. That's the Costco dog.
It is. It's a split bread bun, so it's got that big puffy bun. And then, you know what I'm talking about, right? So it's not like a regular hot dog bun. And they mound that
sucker with chili if you get it.
But they have the other one, too. They put pulled pork and coleslaw on top of it.
Yeah. They're like, how can we make this worse for you? And right across the street, you can literally get a kitchen sink filled with ice cream.
Yes, you can. And then I'm telling you, and then on the way out, you grab a Starbucks and you're good to go. $100 down.
Yeah.
Welcome to Disney.
Yeah. Believe it or not, the Starbucks is not overpriced in Disney.
No, it's priced just like a regular Starbucks.
They just won't take coupons.
Nope.
But it's the normal everyday price.
Yep, which I'm cool with. Dude, that was really far off from what we were trying to talk about.
Yep.
Which was what again?
I don't know.
I
do know, but I'm saving it.
Okay, we'll save it for another show. I mean, we're right at that mark where we promised that we wouldn't waste too much of everybody's time, but this has been kind of fun.
Yeah, well...
Oh. It was on you the whole time I was talking.
Oh, that's normal.
It's fine. It's really hard doing this by myself.
We could go to the new cam. Did you even show them that one?
The new cam? What does it say the new camera is?
Floater.
Number 3. What's up?
Oh, there it is. I'm like looking at the ceiling.
I was looking at the ceiling too because I saw you look at the ceiling.
Let us know where we should put a camera.
Yep, I'll put one underneath the desk looking at my junk.
That will get viewers to turn off.
Yeah.
It'll also probably get us red flag.
What if it's just one of them? Just one hanging out the side. But, all right, everybody. Oh, that was loud. This has been fun. All right, we'll be back for another one.
Yep.
Peace.
See ya.